AITA for getting a mom banned after she threw coffee at me? She threw coffee at me, burned my arm, humiliated me in front of everyone, and somehow I became the villain. Months later, she's still haunting me. Online, outside my job, even in my dreams. And then one night, she messaged me. 2 words. My name is Jackson, and I'm 20 years old. I work part-time at a cafe called Haven's Corner, tucked near the edge of a quiet shopping district in the town of Briarfield. It's the kind of place that smells like cinnamon and vanilla even before you walk through the door. Cozy, familiar, almost too quiet sometimes. The job isn't complicated. Take orders, make coffee, smile. That's what I tell myself every morning when I tie my apron behind my back. But sometimes, one single customer can turn an easy day into something that burns itself into your memory, a moment that won't let you go. It happened on a Sunday afternoon, 15 minutes before closing. The cafe was almost empty, a couple sitting by the window, 2 students studying in the corner, the low hum of the espresso machine. I was counting down the minutes when the door burst open and a woman came in. She looked completely drained, a baby on one hip, a toddler tugging at her sleeve. Her hair was falling from a loose bun, her eyes tired and hollow. Please, she said, breathless. I ordered online. I just need to pick up my drinks. 2 lattes and a muffin. I checked the order screen. Nothing. I'm sorry, ma'am, I said gently. It looks like your order didn't go through. Maybe it timed out. Her lips pressed together. That's impossible. I paid. I turned the screen so she could see. If it didn't register here, it didn't process the payment. You can reorder, but we're closing soon. Her face changed. The exhaustion twisted into anger. Do you have any idea how hard it is to drag 2 kids here? I already paid, and you're telling me I have to wait again. I tried to keep calm. If you show me the receipt or transaction confirmation, I can help. She shoved her phone toward me. The screen showed nothing but her shopping cart. It's right there, she snapped. Ma'am, I said quietly. That's not a confirmation screen. Her voice rose. So what? You think I'm lying? I didn't say that, I replied, keeping my voice steady. And then, before I could even process what was happening, she grabbed one of the display cups. It was a full cup of hot coffee. She threw it. The liquid splashed across my apron, scalding my arm and dripping down the counter. The cup shattered on the floor. Everyone froze. Her toddler started crying. The baby whimpered against her shoulder. My hands trembled. My manager, Indy, came running out from the back. What is going on here? She demanded. The woman pointed at me, furious. He's calling me a liar. He's trying to make me look stupid. I stood there, shaking. I didn't. Enough. Indy cut in. She looked at the counter, at my soaked apron, at the puddle of coffee spreading across the tiles. Ma'am, please leave. The woman's face flushed red. You people think you can talk to customers however you want. Ma'am, leave. Indy repeated, her voice firm. The woman grabbed her toddler's hand and stormed out, muttering, entitled workers. All of you. The door slammed so hard the wind chime above it broke. I just stood there. My heart was pounding. The coffee burned faintly against my skin, but I barely felt it. The worst part wasn't the pain. It was the humiliation. The feeling of everyone's eyes on me. That night, when I got home, I couldn't stop replaying it in my head. The sound of her shouting, the sting of the coffee, the silence afterward. I wasn't angry. Not yet. Just shaken. The next morning, Indy texted me. Jackson, I've reported the incident to security and corporate. The woman's banned from the store. I didn't respond. I just stared at the message. Something about it made me feel strange, guilty, maybe. She had 2 small kids. She looked like someone at the end of her rope. But still, she'd thrown coffee at me. That night, I told my brother, Dallas, what happened. He listened quietly, arms folded. When I finished, he said, you did the right thing. Don't let anyone treat you like that. She had her kids with her, I said quietly. She seemed desperate. Desperation doesn't give someone the right to throw things at you, he said sharply. You don't excuse cruelty just because someone's tired. I nodded, but part of me still didn't feel right. When I told my mom later, her reaction was completely different. You embarrassed that poor woman, she said softly. You don't know what she's going through. Maybe she just had a bad day. You didn't have to get her banned. I stared at her. She threw coffee at me, Mom. She crossed her arms. You're young. You don't understand how hard it is to raise kids alone. Sometimes people snap. You should have just let it go. I felt my jaw tighten. So if someone threw coffee at you, you just let it go. Don't talk to me like that, Jackson, she snapped. You don't have children. You don't know. Something inside me cracked a little. I raised my voice without meaning to. No, I don't have kids, but I have respect, and that woman sure didn't. Stop shouting, she yelled back. You're acting like some kind of victim. I took a step closer, my voice trembling. I am the victim, Mom. She humiliated me in front of everyone, and you're defending her. For a second, the room went silent except for the hum of the refrigerator. My mother's eyes were cold. You've changed, she said. You used to be kind. Now you sound just like your father." That cut deeper than anything. I turned away and walked out of the kitchen before I said something I couldn't take back. I went to my room, slammed the door, and sat on the bed with my head in my hands. My whole body was shaking, not from fear this time, but from anger. The next few days were unbearable. Every time I went to work, I felt like someone was watching me. A few regulars asked what happened that day, and I just smiled it off, pretending I didn't care. But inside, I was still burning. One afternoon, a man, probably her husband or boyfriend, came in. He stood at the counter, staring at me. "You're Jackson?" he asked flatly. "Yeah," I said cautiously. "You're the one who made my wife look like trash in front of everyone." I blinked. "Excuse me." He stepped closer, voice rising. "You didn't have to make a scene. She told me what happened. You could have just apologized instead of acting superior." I felt the heat rush to my face. "Apologize?" She threw coffee at me. He leaned on the counter, eyes hard. "You think you're better than everyone, huh? Hiding behind your manager. Getting a mother band from a cafe like you're some kind of hero." I slammed my hand on the counter before I could stop myself. "Don't talk to me like that. Your wife assaulted me. That's not making a scene. That's me doing my job." The room went dead quiet. Everyone turned to look. He sneered. "You're just a kid. Enjoy your little job while you can. Get out," I said through my teeth. He smirked. "Or what?" Before I could answer, Indy came out from the back, her voice like ice. "Sir, leave now." He muttered something under his breath, glared at me, and stormed out. I stood there, breathing hard, shaking with fury. Indy touched my shoulder lightly. "Don't let them get to you," she said quietly. But I could tell she was just as tense as I was. It was Tuesday afternoon, slow day, gray clouds pressing low over Briarfield. I was wiping down tables when Indy, my manager, stiffened near the counter. "Jackson," she said quietly, not looking at me. "Don't turn around." I did anyway. She was there, the woman from that day, standing outside the glass door, clutching her purse, staring straight through the window at me. My stomach dropped. Her face was pale, drawn, tired. Not angry, not yet, just hollow. I froze, rag still in my hand, every nerve in my body locking up. Indy muttered, "She's not supposed to be here. She's banned." "I know," I whispered. We watched her for a few seconds. Then she lifted her hand slightly, not to wave, but to gesture me outside. Indy frowned. "Don't you dare go out there." But I couldn't help it. Something about her face, the way her eyes flickered, desperate, made me hesitate. I said quietly, "I'll just tell her to leave." "Make it quick," Indy said tightly. I stepped outside, trash bag in hand like an excuse. The air was cold, the wind heavy with drizzle. She took a small step forward. "Jackson," she said, her voice low. "I just want to talk." I swallowed. "You're not supposed to be here." "I know," she said quickly, wringing her hands. Please, I just need to explain." I hesitated, glancing back at the door. Indy was standing behind the counter, arms folded, watching. "Go ahead," I said quietly. She took a shaky breath. "I shouldn't have thrown the coffee. I know that. I was stressed. My kids were crying. My ex stopped paying support. I hadn't slept in 2 nights. I snapped. I crossed my arms. That doesn't make it okay." "I know," she said again, almost pleading. "But you reporting me. You got me banned. They sent a letter. I lost my account. Now every store in the mall won't serve me. It's humiliating. I'm begging you. Please talk to your manager. Tell her to lift the ban." I stared at her. "You think I can just undo what happened? You threw hot coffee at me." She flinched. I was desperate. I took a step back. "You were violent." Her expression shifted. The apology vanished. Her mouth tightened, and suddenly, that same spark of anger from before lit her eyes. "Oh, come on," she snapped. "You're acting like I tried to kill you. It was coffee. It wasn't even that hot." My voice rose. "It burned me. You humiliated me in front of customers, and now you want me to feel bad for you. Don't yell at me," she hissed. "I'm the one who's been suffering since that day. You got to go back to your perfect little job, your little cafe." "It's a part-time job," I interrupted. "Not a kingdom." She ignored me. "I lost everything. My boss found out. They said I was unstable, and now I'm unemployed. My kids," her voice cracked, "my kids think I'm a bad mom because of you." I shook my head slowly. "No, because of you. Because you lost control." She glared at me, eyes wet. "You don't understand what it's like to be a single mother." "You're right." I snapped, voice sharp now, shaking with frustration. "I don't. But I do know what it's like to be treated like garbage when I was just trying to do my job. You threw something at me. That's not stress. That's abuse." Her face twisted. "You're cruel. You don't even care that I'm struggling." I exhaled hard. "You don't get to play the victim after assaulting someone." That's when the door behind me opened. Indy stepped out, phone in hand, voice cutting through the air like a blade. "Ma'am," she said coldly, "you need to leave right now, or I'm calling mall security." The woman's expression darkened. Her eyes darted between us. "You both think you're better than me, don't you? Hiding behind policies and rules. I just wanted a little help." Indy's tone hardened. "This conversation is over." The woman's voice cracked as she turned on me. "You ruined my life. You smug little boy. You probably feel proud, don't you?" I felt something snap in me. My voice came out louder than I meant, shaking, furious. proud? You think I'm proud that I wake up dreading to come to work now? That I flinch every time someone gets angry at the counter? You did that. You don't get to twist it. Her face went red. You're disgusting. Get out. I yelled. Get out before I make sure they ban you from the entire mall. Indy took a step forward, phone raised. I'm calling security. The woman's breathing was sharp and ragged. For a second, I thought she might throw something again, but she just glared at me, eyes glassy with rage. You'll regret this, she said, voice trembling. You have no idea what people like me go through. Then she turned and stormed off, her footsteps echoing across the wet pavement. I stood there, heart hammering, hands shaking. Indy sighed and lowered her phone. Next time, don't talk to her. Let me handle it. I didn't respond. I just stared at the glass door as she disappeared into the parking lot. That night, I got home and tried to tell myself it was over. But around 10:30, I got a Facebook message. It was from her. Somehow, she'd found me. Maybe through the cafe's page or from the name tag I wore every day. Her, I hope you know what you've done. You cost me my job. I was late because of that day, and they fired me. I hope someone does to you what you did to me. My stomach twisted. I blocked her account immediately, but it didn't stop there. The next day, I got 2 private calls at work. No voice, just breathing. And when I went to throw the trash later that evening, there was a crumpled note under the dumpster lid in smudged black ink. You'll never understand what you took from me. I showed it to Indy. Her jaw clenched. That's it. I'm filing a harassment report. She's done. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept checking the windows, convinced I'd see her standing there again. Dallas called me after hearing about it. Man, he said, his voice sharp. You need to file a police report. I don't want to make it worse, I muttered. She's already making it worse, he snapped. You think this is normal? She's stalking you. My voice broke when I said it. She has kids, Dallas. He went silent for a second. So what? That doesn't give her the right to terrorize you. Stop feeling guilty for surviving her mess. I hung up later, feeling more alone than ever. The next morning, when I came in early to open the cafe, there was a smear of something brownish on the window, like someone had thrown coffee again. No one saw who did it. No cameras caught it, but I knew. And maybe that's what finally broke me. When Indy arrived, I told her I was quitting. She tried to talk me out of it, said corporate would handle it, but I just shook my head. I can't keep wondering if she's coming back, I said quietly. It's not worth it. So that day, I hung up my apron, walked out of Haven's corner. It started small, weird phone calls to the cafe. No words, just breathing. At first, I thought it was a prank, but the pauses, the soft static on the line, it was her. I could feel it. I knew that silence. Probably spam, Indy said when I told her. But I saw the look in her eyes. She believed me. Then, a week later, she came back. Not in person, but online. She commented under one of our cafe's posts. A cheerful photo of new seasonal drinks, cinnamon lattes, and pumpkin bread. Her words hit like a punch to the gut. Ask Jackson what he does to single mothers. He ruins lives. My heart stopped. Within an hour, the comment had likes, replies, arguments. Some people defended me. Others didn't. One said, typical retail worker power trip. Another, if he really did that, he deserves it. It was chaos. Indy called me from the back office. Jackson, she said tightly, corporate's seen it. They want you to take time off, just until things settle. My stomach twisted. You're kidding. I'm not, she said, softer now. It's just protocol. We'll sort this out. But that word, protocol, made me feel like the villain, like I'd done something wrong. I tried to stay calm, but inside, I was boiling. I paced my apartment, replaying every moment, every insult, every time someone called me heartless in the comments. That night, I called Dallas. He answered on the second ring. What's going on? She's back, I said, my voice shaking. Online this time. She's calling me a monster. Dallas sighed. That heavy, angry sound he makes when he's holding himself back. Block her. Everywhere. She's trying to get a reaction. I already did. I snapped. She keeps finding new ways. She's obsessed. Then call the police. And tell them what? That some woman's posting mean things about me online? They'll laugh. There was a long silence. Then Dallas said, you can't keep letting her control you. I shouted back. You think I'm letting her? You weren't the one she threw coffee at. You don't wake up sweating because you think you hear her outside. Jax, I hate that you're acting like I'm weak. I yelled. You didn't see what she's like. He went quiet. I'm not saying you're weak. I'm saying you're scared, and you should be. I hung up. The next few days were hell. Customers started whispering. Some avoided me. I overheard one woman say, isn't he the one from that post? Indy told me to ignore it, but every time the doorbell chimed, my chest tightened. Then one night, around closing, I got another call. No number, no voice, just breathing again. I slammed the phone down, heart pounding, but it rang again. Same pattern. I picked up and snapped. Stop calling me. You need to move on. There was silence. Then a whisper. You don't get to forget me. I froze. Her voice, calm, almost sweet, crawled down my spine like ice. I hung up and blocked the number. My hands were shaking so badly, I dropped my phone. Indy noticed the next day. You look exhausted, she said quietly. She's not stopping, I whispered. She won't stop. Indy's eyes softened. Do you want me to transfer you? There's an opening at the Mapleview branch. I hesitated. You think I should run away? She frowned. It's not running. It's protecting yourself. That word, protecting, protecting stuck with me because that's what I'd been doing for months, protecting myself from someone who refused to let me go. But before I agreed, things got worse. The next weekend, I went to visit my mom. I hadn't seen her since all of this began. I thought maybe a change of scenery would help. It didn't. When I walked through the door, she hugged me like nothing was wrong. But halfway through dinner, she said, "I saw that post about you online." I froze mid-bite. What? She put down her fork. "That woman, the one from the cafe. People are saying awful things. She's lying," I said quickly. "You know that, right?" She hesitated. "I don't know what to believe, Jackson. You've been so angry lately. Maybe you said something harsh that day." My jaw clenched. "You think I deserved it?" "Don't twist my words," she said calmly. "I'm saying sometimes we don't realize how we come across." I slammed my hand on the table. She threw coffee at me. "Lower your voice," she said sharply. "Why?" I shouted. "Because you don't want the neighbors to know your son got assaulted by some lunatic and still feels guilty for it." Dallas stood up from the couch. "Hey, calm down." "No," I yelled at him. "I'm tired of everyone telling me to calm down. She's destroying my life and nobody's doing anything." Mom stood up too. "That's enough." "Yeah," I snapped. "Maybe you should have said that to the woman who attacked your son instead of to me." The room went dead quiet. Mom looked hurt, deeply, quietly hurt, and walked away without another word. Dallas shook his head. "You're spiraling, man." "Then help me," I shouted. "Do something." But he didn't. He just looked at me like he didn't recognize me anymore. I left that night, slamming the door behind me. When I got home, my phone buzzed. Unknown number again. This time, a text. "You think you can ignore me? You don't get to forget." I blocked it immediately, but my heart was pounding so hard it hurt. I didn't sleep. I just stared at the ceiling until sunrise, wondering if she'd ever stop. By the end of that week, I took Indy's offer. I transferred to the Mapleview branch. Leaving Havens Corner was harder than I thought. The familiar smell of cinnamon, the warm lights, all of it felt like pieces of a life I used to have. Indy hugged me goodbye, said she'd miss my sarcasm. I smiled, but it didn't feel real. Then, a few nights ago, I got the message. An unknown Facebook account. No profile picture. No friends. Just 2 words. "I'm sorry." I stared at it for minutes that felt like hours. No threats. No anger. Just that. For a moment, my chest tightened. Part of me wanted to type back. For what? Another part of me wanted to smash my phone. Because sorry doesn't erase the months of anxiety. The shaking. The humiliation. The whispers at Havens Corner. The nights I couldn't breathe without checking the locks twice. I didn't reply. I couldn't. Some apologies are just quiet knives disguised as kindness. The next morning at work, things were off. I could tell from the way coworkers glanced at me when I walked in. "Everything okay?" I asked, tying my apron. Riley, the shift lead, avoided my eyes. "You might want to check the cafe's reviews." My stomach dropped. I pulled out my phone. There it was, a brand new 1-star review under the store's name. "Watch out for the barista with brown hair and the fake smile. He pretends to be nice until you say the wrong thing. Then he shows who he really is." Scary guy. No name attached, but I didn't need one. My throat burned. "It's her. She's doing it again." Riley frowned. "We can't prove that." "I know her wording." I snapped. "That's how she talks. Sweet, then poison." "Jackson, calm down." "Don't tell me to calm down," I shouted. Customers turned their heads. "I'm not crazy. This is harassment." "Lower your voice," she hissed. But I couldn't. Months of fear and silence broke all at once. "You think this is just a bad review? This is my life she's playing with. She wants me to lose everything." Riley crossed her arms. "We have rules here. If you can't control yourself," I laughed bitterly. "Rules? You want to talk about rules while someone's stalking me online?" She glared. "You're making a scene." "Good," I shouted. "Let everyone see. Let them know what it looks like when someone's been pushed too far." The room fell silent except for the hum of the espresso machine. A mother with a stroller stared at me like I was dangerous. That look hit harder than anything. I stormed out the back door, slamming it so hard the bell fell from its hook. I sat behind the building, trembling. My phone buzzed again, a text from Dallas. "Heard about what happened. Are you okay?" I called him instantly. "She's back," I said. My voice cracked. "Jackson, breathe. She left a fake review, Dallas. She's trying to make me look violent." He was quiet for a long moment. "You yelled at your manager, didn't you?" She wouldn't listen." He sighed. "You're feeding her. Every outburst, every scene, she wants that." I snapped. "You always talk like you know everything. You didn't live through what I did. You didn't see her eyes when she said I'd regret it." He raised his voice now too. "And you think screaming at everyone fixes it? You're proving her point. Don't you dare take her side." I yelled so loud my throat hurt. "You think I want this? You think I enjoy being scared every damn day?" There was a long, brittle silence. Then he said quietly, "I think you need help, man." I hung up. Later that evening, Indy called me out of nowhere. I hadn't heard from her since I left Havens Corner. "I saw the review," she said softly. "Mapleview sent it to corporate. You okay?" "No," I said flatly, "but thanks for asking." "You know," she said after a pause, "she might really be sorry. People break, Jackson." Maybe she finally realized what she did. I laughed, a harsh, broken sound. "You think an apology fixes what she did? You think 2 words undo 8 months of hell?" "No," Indy Indy said. But maybe forgiveness does. That word, forgiveness, made my blood boil. You want me to forgive someone who ruined my reputation? Who made my mom doubt me? Who made me scream in front of customers because I thought she'd show up again? Maybe forgiving her is the only way you stop letting her win, Indy said quietly. I shouted into the phone. I don't need your therapy talk. I just need her to leave me alone. Then I ended the call. The next few weeks were rough. My hours were cut. Riley barely spoke to me except about work. Customers avoided my register. Every whisper felt like an accusation. Every laugh felt like it was about me. One evening, as I was closing, an older man, one of our regulars, walked up. You're Jackson, right? I hesitated. Yeah. He smiled faintly. You make a good cappuccino. Don't let idiots ruin that. Something about that nearly broke me. I forced a smile. Thanks. After he left, I stood behind the counter staring at my reflection in the espresso machine. I looked tired, older. My eyes were different, sharper, colder. That's when I realized I couldn't keep living like this, trapped between fear and anger. So I did something I never thought I'd do. I replied to that old Facebook message. Just one line. I forgive you, but stay gone. I hit send before I could change my mind. No reply came. Days passed, then weeks. No more fake reviews. No calls. No breathing on the phone. Nothing. The end. Jackson, you're not AITA. You were a barista, not a punching bag. That woman didn't lose her temper. She lost her manners. You didn't provoke her. You just existed in her line of fire. That's not your burden to carry. People love to say the customer is always right, but that phrase only protects bad behavior. You weren't rude. You were human. Her apology wasn't remorse. It was image repair. You didn't know her forgiveness, just distance. That guilt you feel, it's empathy trying to fix something it didn't break. You didn't ruin her life. She did that herself. You didn't make her a villain. She volunteered. Sure, you lost your job, maybe your peace for a while, but you kept your dignity. You didn't lie or retaliate. You just stopped setting yourself on fire to keep someone else warm. You're not heartless for leaving, Jackson. You just stopped confusing endurance for kindness. And honestly, that's strength, not shame. Before we jump into the next story, don't forget to like and subscribe, and let us know your favorite part in the comments. AITA for calling out my family's hypocrisy at my sister's engagement dinner? He told me once, if you marry her, don't expect my blessing. So I didn't. I walked away, built a quiet life with the woman he said wasn't our kind of people. A year passed. Silence. Then, out of nowhere, a message from my mother. Your father isn't well. He wants to see you and meet her properly. The same man who once refused to shake her hand. My name is Ignacio, and I'm 29 years old. I grew up in the small town of Ashmere, a quiet place surrounded by green hills and winding roads, where people still wave when they see you, but they also never forget what they've heard about you. My parents are Zahir and Mackenzie, and I have two siblings, Silas, who's 26, and Ivy, who's 31. Out of all of us, Ivy was always the one who shined in their eyes, graceful, polite, and exactly the kind of daughter they could boast about at every dinner. I was the opposite. I didn't crave attention. I didn't dress the way they liked. I spoke when I felt something was wrong. That alone made me difficult. Then I met Kylie. She worked as a nurse at the local clinic, calm, patient, kind in ways I didn't know people could be. She taught me to slow down, to breathe, to see goodness in small things. But my parents never saw her that way. From the start, they said she wasn't our kind of people. They never explained what that meant, but I knew. She didn't come from money. Her parents worked hard, lived modestly, and didn't play the image game my parents lived for. When I told them I was planning to propose, my father's face hardened like stone. He said, if you do this, don't expect my blessing. My mother said nothing, just sat beside him with her lips pressed together like silence could make the moment disappear. I told them I wasn't asking for their blessing. I was asking for them to care. After the proposal, Kylie's parents invited mine for dinner, a small, warm evening to celebrate and talk about wedding traditions. But my father refused. I have better things to do than sit through someone else's mistakes, he said. My mother stayed home with him. Silas didn't say a word. Only Ivy texted me that night. You should have waited until Dad came around. You know how he is. That message hurt more than anything. Kylie's family welcomed me anyway. They made tea, asked questions, smiled kindly, and never once mentioned that I'd come alone. That night, sitting at their dining table, I promised myself I would never again let my father's pride take away something good from me. Months passed. No calls, no questions, nothing. It was as if I'd vanished from their version of family. Then Ivy got engaged. Suddenly, my father was glowing again. He started planning dinners, making toasts about family unity, calling people he hadn't spoken to in years. And then, out of nowhere, I got a text from him, the first in almost a year. Ivy's engagement dinner next Saturday. We'd love for you and Kylie to come. The words we'd love almost made me laugh. Kylie looked at me when I told her. You don't have to go, she said quietly. But part of me wanted to see it for myself, to see if anything had changed. The night of the dinner, we walked into my parents' house, and everyone turned like they'd just seen a ghost. My father was standing near the fireplace, talking loudly to guests. When he saw us, his smile was so polished it almost looked rehearsed. Well, he said, stepping forward. Look who finally decided to show up. He extended his hand toward Kylie. It's good to see you again. Kylie hesitated, but shook it. Her voice was calm. You've never seen me before, Mr. Zahir. The room went quiet for half a second, then laughter filled it again. Awkward, scattered laughter that died too soon. Dinner went on, filled with my father's speeches about family, about love, about unity. Every word felt like glass in my throat. At one point, my aunt leaned across the table and said, "You must be proud of your sister, Ignacio. Ivy's fiancé comes from such a good family. Your parents must be thrilled." I smiled tightly. They always are when it's Ivy. My father shot me a sharp look. Don't start, he warned. Start what? I asked, my voice low but steady. You mean telling the truth? He set down his glass. You're here to support your sister, not make a scene. I didn't come here to pretend, I said. You want to talk about family? Then let's talk about the part you erased. My mother's face tightened. Ignacio, please. No, I snapped louder now. You refused to meet Kylie's parents because you said she wasn't our kind of people. You made me feel small for loving her. And now suddenly you're smiling and shaking her hand because it makes you look good in front of everyone. Guests were starting to whisper. Ivy looked horrified. Silas sat frozen, eyes darting between us. My father stood. Enough. You will not disrespect me in my own home. Respect. I laughed bitterly. You threw away respect when you treated me like a mistake for choosing someone good. He stepped closer, voice sharp. Watch your tone. I met his stare. I'm done watching anything. I've spent my whole life being quiet to keep your pride comfortable. Not anymore. Ivy rose from her seat, trembling. Please, stop. You're ruining everything. I turned to her. Everything? Ivy, the only thing that's being ruined here is the lie you're all still living. She glared at me, tears forming. You're just jealous that Dad finally supports me. Jealous, I said, my voice breaking from anger. I'm relieved he doesn't. Because his approval means you've become exactly what he wants. Someone who never questions anything. The room went silent again. My father's fists clenched. You think you know everything, don't you? I don't, I said softly. But I know what it feels like to be invisible. For a long second, no one spoke. Then my mother whispered, Ignacio, not tonight. Please. But it was too late. I looked around at the faces, polite, judgmental, pretending not to stare, and realized I didn't belong there. I set down my napkin, reached for Kylie's hand, and said quietly, let's go. My father's voice cut through the silence. If you walk out now, don't bother coming back. I stopped at the door, turned to him, and said, that's the first honest thing you've said all night. And I walked out. Kylie and I moved into a small flat near the river in Ashmere. It had chipped paint, squeaky floors, and a balcony that faced the water. In the mornings, the scent of roasted coffee drifted up from the cafe below, mixing with the damp scent of rain. For the first time, the world felt small enough to manage. Just us, the slow hum of traffic, and the sound of life moving on without the noise of my family. We planned our wedding quietly. No grand receptions, no photographers, no speeches that would have been filled with fake smiles. Just peace, or at least something close to it. Then one evening, while Kylie was making tea, my phone buzzed. An email from my mother. Ignacio, your father hasn't been well. He keeps asking to see you. He wants to meet Kylie properly. Please, come before it's too late. For a long time, I stared at the words, not sure what I felt. Anger, guilt, or nothing at all. Kylie turned, her voice soft. Are you going to see him? I didn't look up. I don't know. He heard us both. But maybe, I exhaled. Maybe I need to hear him say it. 2 days passed. Then a text came, this time from Ivy. Dad's condition isn't serious, but he's been quiet lately. He told me he regrets how he treated you. Don't wait too long to forgive him. It might be too late when you're ready. Her words hit differently this time. Not sharp or defensive, just tired, worn out. Maybe she was finally starting to see it too. That night, I sat on the balcony, the lights from the bridge reflecting on the water. For the first time in a long while, I didn't feel angry, just exhausted from fighting, from remembering, from being the one who always had to understand. The next morning, I called him. His voice was weaker than I remembered. Ignacio, he said, slow and rasped. I didn't know how to talk to you back then. I thought being a father meant being right all the time. It didn't, I said quietly. I know, he whispered. I see that now. He paused, and in that silence, I heard something I'd never heard in his voice before. Fear. Would you bring her by sometime? He asked. I'd like to meet her. Properly. Kylie stood nearby, arms crossed, eyes uncertain but gentle. She gave me a small nod. If you need to go, I'll come with you. All right, I said. We'll come this weekend. When we pulled up to the old house, I swear the air itself felt heavy. The grass was overgrown, the shutters creaked, and the paint peeled like time had finally caught up to him. My mother met us at the door, eyes red red and tired. He's outside, she said. He sits there every morning now. In the backyard, Zahir sat wrapped in a gray blanket, his posture smaller somehow, his hands trembling faintly around a mug of tea. When he saw me, he smiled, faint, unsure. "So this is Kylie," he said softly. She stepped forward, brave as ever, and took his hand. "It's nice to finally meet you, Mr. Zahir." He laughed weakly. "Just Zahir, please." For a moment, it almost felt normal. We sat and talked about work, about the weather, about nothing that mattered, but everything that did. No tension, no glares, just people sitting in fading sunlight, trying to rebuild something fragile. But peace, in my family, never lasts. The back door opened, and Ivy came out, her voice sharp and quick. "Oh, so you actually came." I turned. "Nice to see you too, Ivy." She folded her arms. "You think showing up now fixes anything?" Kylie frowned. "He came because your father asked him to." Ivy's eyes flicked toward her, cold and cutting. "I wasn't talking to you." That tone, that same venom she'd inherited from him, snapped something in me. I stood up, voice low but trembling. "Watch it, Ivy. You don't talk to her like that." "Oh, please," she scoffed. "You disappear for months, act like the victim, and now you're protective?" "Spare me. I'm protective because you people have been tearing her down since day one." I shouted. "She's done nothing but try to be kind, something you clearly forgot how to be." "Enough," my mother hissed, stepping outside. "Both of you stop." I turned to her. "No, you stop pretending this family is fine. You've been covering for him for years." She looked hurt. "He's sick, Ignacio, and I was broken long before he got sick." I shot back. Zahir stirred weakly, voice shaking. "That's enough, both of you." But Ivy wasn't done. She stepped closer, eyes brimming. "You think you're better than us now? Living in your little flat, playing happy couple, pretending you're some martyr? You left, Ignacio. You always leave." I laughed bitterly. "Yeah? Because staying meant becoming like you. Trapped in a house where love comes with conditions." Her lip trembled. "At least I stayed and faced things." "Faced what?" I barked. "A father who never listened. A mother who smiled through lies." "You didn't face anything, Ivy. You just learned to survive their approval." She slapped me. The sound cracked through the air like a gunshot. Kylie gasped. My mother covered her mouth. Ivy stood there, breathing hard, eyes wide like she couldn't believe what she'd just done. And then my father spoke, his voice breaking. "Enough," he shouted, louder than I thought he could. "All of you, enough." The yard fell silent. Even the wind seemed to stop. He looked between us, eyes glistening. "You think this pride makes you strong? It doesn't. It's poison. I fed it to all of you." He turned to me, voice trembling. "You were right that night. Pride takes more than it gives. Don't let it take love from you too." I swallowed hard. My anger drained, replaced by something heavier, regret. He reached for my hand, and for the first time in my life, I took it willingly. "I forgive you," I whispered. "I just wish you'd learned sooner." He smiled faintly. "So do I." That was the last conversation we ever had. The end. Ignacio, you are not AITA. You didn't start chaos. You just stopped sitting quietly through it. Every word you spoke came from a lifetime of swallowing pride that wasn't yours to carry. That's not rebellion. That's recovery. Your parents weren't upset because you loved Kylie. They were upset because you loved without permission. They mistook control for care and respect for silence. You didn't betray the family. You just stopped playing a part in their performance. That dinner wasn't a reconciliation. It was a stage show. Your father's handshake was PR, not peace. You didn't ruin the evening. You revealed the truth they were trying to bury under tablecloths and small talk. Ivy called you jealous because it's easier to label your honesty than face her own fear. When you left, it wasn't drama, it was dignity. And when you returned later, it wasn't guilt, it was closure. You didn't need, "I love you." You needed, "I was wrong." And you got it, even if it came too late. As for Ivy's slap, that was just emotional inheritance. She wasn't hitting you. She was hitting every truth she'd been too afraid to face. You didn't hit back, and that restraint says more about your strength than any speech could. Your father's final honesty, admitting pride poisoned everything, was the moment you'd been waiting for all your life. You forgave, not to free him, but to free yourself. So no, Ignacio, you're not AITA. You didn't destroy the family. You just refused to keep pretending it was whole. You chose love over performance, truth over comfort, and peace over pride. Keep living softly with Kylie. The chipped mugs, the small joys, the honest mornings. The quiet joke of it all, you were never the disappointment. You were the only one brave enough to grow. Before we jump into the next story, don't forget to like and subscribe, and let us know your favorite part in the comments. AITA for confronting my daughter after finding out she was hiding her relationship from me. Heard my daughter was in love from a stranger, not from her. I thought telling her I already knew would show her I accepted her. Instead, it broke her. Now I'm just a father trying to fix what love alone can't. My name is Ethan, and I'm 61 years old. I live in a quiet town called Ridgehaven, the kind of place where people still wave from their porches and gossip slides through open windows faster than the breeze. My wife, Elaine, passed away 8 years ago. She was everything this house needed. Laughter in the kitchen, humming while she folded laundry, warmth that filled every every corner. When she died, the silence became unbearable. I started filling it with noise. The radio, the clinking of tools at my auto shop, the low hum of the heater. Anything but quiet. I have 2 children. Micah, my daughter, who's 27, and Xavier, who's 24. They were both still so young when we lost Elaine. I did my best to raise them. Food on the table, money in their accounts, rides to school, advice that sounded more like commands. I thought that was enough. But love, real, patient love, I never quite learned that part. I grew up under a man who thought affection made you weak. My father once told me, if you can fix something, you don't cry over it. So I fixed cars, bills, broken fences, but not people, and not the hurt that built between me and my kids. Then, a few months ago, I heard something I wasn't supposed to. A woman who came into the shop, a friend of Micah's, mentioned casually that my daughter had been seeing someone named Emberlyn for almost a year. She said it with a smile, like everyone already knew. Everyone but me. The wrench nearly slipped from my hand. It wasn't anger that I felt. It was something else. Confusion, guilt, a sharp twist in my chest that whispered, why didn't she tell you? I realized, sitting alone in that greasy shop, how little of her life I actually knew. That night, I sat in my armchair, staring at Elaine's picture on the wall. She had always been better at love, softer, steadier. I imagined what she would say if she were still here. Probably something like, don't make this about you, Ethan. Just love her. But I couldn't shake the thought that Micah hadn't trusted me, that she'd hidden this part of herself because she thought I'd turn away. At first, I told myself I'd wait. Let her tell me when she was ready. But the waiting turned into pacing, and the pacing turned into worry, and the worry turned into something heavier. The kind that makes you pick up your phone in the middle of the night just to stare at her name and wonder what you broke. So a few days later, I asked her to lunch. We met at Briar Cafe, the little place near the square where we used to go after church when Elaine was alive. The same lace curtains, the same smell of coffee and warm bread. Micah walked in wearing her scrubs from the clinic, smiling like she always did, that smile that could still light up a room even when mine couldn't. We talked about small things first, work, Xavier, the weather, her coworkers, but my chest kept tightening. I couldn't take it anymore. So I said it. I know about you and Emberlyn. I told her, my voice low but steady. You don't have to hide that from me. The way she looked at me, it was like I'd reached across the table and knocked the air right out of her. She froze, eyes wide, hand gripping her cup until it shook. What did you just say? I know. I said again, softer this time. I don't care who you love, Micah. You're my daughter. That doesn't change anything. She didn't move for several seconds. Then she slowly exhaled. Her voice cracked. Dad, you weren't supposed to find out like that. I didn't mean to intrude, I said. I just didn't want you to think. She interrupted, her tone sharp now. You didn't mean to, but you did. You took that away from me. Heads turned from nearby tables, but she didn't care. You took my moment, Dad, she said, her voice trembling. Do you understand what that feels like? To finally be ready to tell someone something so important and have it taken away before you could even breathe. Micah, I was just trying to make sure you knew I love you, I said quietly. She stood up, anger mixing with hurt. Then why does it feel like you just proved I can't trust you? Her words hit me harder than any insult ever could. The cafe went quiet. Even the air felt heavy. I whispered, that's not fair. She looked at me, eyes wet. Neither was what you did. Then she left, just like that. The sound of the door closing behind her might as well have been thunder. When I got home that night, I sat in the living room staring at my phone. Nothing. No text. No call. The next morning, there was a message waiting. I know you meant well, Dad, but it hurt that you knew before I was ready to tell you. I needed that moment to be mine. I typed and deleted my reply a dozen times before I finally wrote, I'm sorry, Micah. I was trying to love you the only way I know how. I'll learn to do better. No response. Days turned into weeks. Xavier came by sometimes, but he avoided mentioning her. One night, I finally asked, has your sister said anything about me? He hesitated. She just needs time, Dad. She's hurt. I didn't mean to hurt her, I said. I know, he replied softly, but meaning well doesn't always make it better. I wanted to yell at him, to say that I had every right to reach out, that being her father meant I could try to fix things. But the words wouldn't come, because deep down, I knew he was right. The silence in that house grew louder than ever. Every creak, every hum of the refrigerator reminded me of the noise I'd created trying to fill the silence Elaine left. And now Micah had added her own kind of quiet. I tried calling once, straight to voicemail. I tried again the next week. Same thing. Finally, I left a message. Hey Micah, just checking in. I miss you, kiddo. That's all. I hung up before my voice cracked. A month later, I saw her at the grocery store. She was in line with a woman, short hair, warm smile. I knew immediately it was Emberlyn. Micah saw me before I saw her. Her shoulders stiffened. I gave a small wave. She didn't wave back. But as I turned away, I heard her say quietly to Emberlyn, "That's my dad." And for the first time, I realized maybe that's all she could handle right now. Not forgiveness, not closeness, just acknowledgement. It was raining the morning she came back. The kind of rain that sticks to the windows, soft but endless. I'd been fixing the loose hinge on the kitchen door when I heard the front gate creak. I looked up, and there she was. Micah, umbrella tilted, a paper bag tucked under her arm, 2 coffees in her hands. Her hair was damp, her eyes tired, but when she saw me through the window, she smiled like it hurt to remember how. "Morning," she said when I opened the door. For a second, I forgot how to breathe. It felt like the air itself had been waiting for her. She placed the coffee on the table and pulled out the chair across from me. "You still take 2 sugars, right?" I nodded quietly. "Haven't changed." The silence that followed was heavy, not angry, but thick with everything we hadn't said in months. The clock ticked between us. The house smelled faintly of Elaine's old cinnamon candle. The one Micah always complained was too sweet. She looked at it now and whispered, "You still keep Mom's things here?" "I never moved them," I said. "It makes the place feel alive." She smiled faintly. "I used to hate that candle. Now it just smells like home." For a moment, I thought maybe this was it, the peace we'd both been circling toward. But then her voice shifted, quiet but edged with nerves. "Emberlyn wants to meet you." I blinked. "She does?" She said she wants to know the man who raised me. She hesitated, but I told her, "You can be difficult." That stung. Difficult. She folded her arms, a defensive habit from her mother. "Yeah, Dad, you have a way of turning everything into a lecture, even when you mean well." "I'm not." I stopped sighed. "I was just trying to protect you." "From what?" she snapped, the heat in her voice surprising us both. "From being myself." I looked up sharply. "Don't twist it like that. You know I'm trying." "You always say that," she shot back. "You're trying, but you never listen. You say sorry, but then you still try to control everything. Who I see, how I tell you things, how I live my life. That's not control, Micah. That's care. There's a difference. Not when it feels the same," she said coldly. "You think just because you love me, it excuses everything." I slammed my hand against the table. "You think I don't know I messed up? You think I don't go to bed every night wishing I'd done better by you and your brother?" Her eyes filled, but her voice didn't waver. "Then act like it. Stop talking like the world owes you forgiveness." That one landed deep. For a long second, neither of us spoke. The rain against the windows filled the silence. Then I whispered, "You sound just like your mother." She met my eyes, voice shaking. "Maybe she's the only one who ever made me feel heard." The words cut through me. My hands tightened around the coffee cup, knuckles white. "I gave up everything for this family," I said, voice rough. "When she died, I held everything together with my bare hands." "You think that was easy?" "I never said it was easy," Micah said, standing up, trembling. "But you never once let us grieve the way we needed to. You just told us to keep going, like pain was some chore to be finished." I rose to my feet too, because if I didn't, we would have fallen apart. "Maybe we needed to," she yelled. "Maybe falling apart was the only way we could have found each other again." The sound of her voice cracked something open inside me. All those years of silence, of pretending I knew best, they came pouring out in a wave I couldn't hold back. "I'm sorry I didn't know how to be what you needed," I shouted. "I'm sorry I wasn't her. But I'm still your father, Micah. I still showed up when nobody else did." Her voice dropped to a whisper. "I didn't need you to be perfect, Dad. I just needed you to listen." The house went still. The candle flame flickered between us. "Finally," I said, quieter, "then maybe it's not too late." She looked away, tears tracing down her cheeks. "You always say that too. But sometimes it already is." She grabbed her coat and moved toward the door, but before she could open it, I said softly, "Tell Emberlyn I'd like to meet her. Whenever you're ready." Micah froze, then turned back, eyes red, and nodded. 2 weeks passed before I heard from her again. Then, one Sunday evening, my phone buzzed. "Dinner, tomorrow, 6 p.m. Emberlyn wants to come." I stared at the message for a long time. My hands shook a little as I typed back, "I'll make lasagna, the way your mom used to." The next evening, the knock came right on time. I opened the door, and there they were, Micah, nervous but smiling, and Emberlyn beside her, holding a small bouquet of sunflowers. "Mr. Hayes," Emberlyn said warmly, "it's nice to finally meet you." "Please," I said, "just Ethan." She laughed. "Micah warned me you'd say that." Dinner was awkward at first. Every word felt too careful, too balanced. But then Emberlyn told a story about Micah burning toast in their first apartment, and we all laughed, really laughed, for the first time in years. It didn't erase the pain. It didn't fix the past, but it opened something small, something hopeful. After dessert, when Emberlyn went to help with dishes, Micah stood by the window, looking out at the rain. "I didn't think you'd actually say yes," she said quietly. "I didn't think you'd actually ask," I replied. She smiled, a little sad. "You're learning." "Trying," I corrected. "Still trying." She stepped closer, rested her hand on my shoulder. "That's all I ever wanted." The end. Ethan, you are not AITA. You didn't break your daughter's trust out of cruelty. You just didn't realize love isn't something you can tighten like a loose bolt. You've spent your whole life fixing things that clatter. Thinking care means keeping everything running. But people don't need tune-ups. They need tenderness. When you told Micah you knew, you weren't trying to steal her moment. You were trying to ease her fear before she had to face it. But in doing that, you took something deeply personal, her truth, and made it feel borrowed. Not malicious, just mismatched timing. You grew up in a world where feelings were leaks to patch, not rooms to sit in. Micah, on the other hand, grew up wanting a father who listened, not one who always reached for a wrench. That clash wasn't hate. It was a generational language barrier, two dialects of love spoken too loudly at the same time. Still, when you said, "I'll learn," you meant it. That moment, stripped of pride, soaked in guilt, was real progress. You didn't excuse yourself, you evolved. And by the time dinner rolled around, you weren't fixing anymore. You were just present, awkward, gentle, human. That's the kind of repair that actually lasts. So no, you're not AITA. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Got a story to share? Drop it in the comments and let us know which one was your favorite.